first kids make a living off their name. Others try to live up to it. In a few cases, they're just fighting to claim it. When Grover Cleveland ran for re-election in 1884, his opponent, Senator Blaine, spread word of Cleveland's illegitimate son with the campaign slogan, "Ma, Ma, where's my pa? Gone to the White House, ha, ha, ha." Cleveland countered with his own rhyme, "James G. Blaine, continental liar from the state of Maine." On Election Day, voters were more interested in politics than paternity. Cleveland won the election.
Nan Britton, a young woman from Marion, 30 years younger than President Harding, accused Harding after his death and Mrs. Harding's death of fathering a child by her while he was in the Senate. There is no credible evidence to prove one way or the other.
My research showed it was pretty clear. You can find some of the rebuttals, and you have to be a real Warren G. Harding fan to believe them. They don't even address any of the details, times, dates, places. Nothing is challenged. It's just you're either for me or against me.
The Secret Service reportedly delivered child support payments to Nan. But when Harding died in 1923, his will did not acknowledge that she or her daughter had ever existed.
She wrote a book and told the story. If you read the book, it's not really a tell-all. It's done with dignity. Tells enough. But she gave the royalties to unwed mothers, and she was brokenhearted for her daughter, who's still living near Mount Hood in obscurity.
One group of presidential descendants has been arguing for legitimacy for more than 200 years. Only recently has science provided them with hard evidence.
I was in first grade, and it was President's Day, so I said this would give me the perfect opportunity to tell the class who I'm related to. So I stood up and I proudly said, Thomas Jefferson is my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, and the teacher said, sit down and stop telling lies.
Thomas Jefferson, the man who wrote the words, "All men are created equal," was a slave owner. After his wife died, giving birth to the second of two daughters, he had a 38-year relationship and 5 children with a slave he inherited from his wife. A slave who was also Mrs. Jefferson's illegitimate half-sister.
If you look at Sally Hemings, who's your wife's half-sister, your wife died 6 years before you started a relationship with Sally, and she, I'm sure, had looked a little bit like Sally, had some similar features. Sally takes care of you and takes care of your children. She's always around. You promised your wife you would not remarry. You can't remarry Sally anyway, so you got the best of both worlds, really.
He liked children, you know. He lost his wife to a child. So when she was gone, what did he do? He had more children.
In 1998, a professor at the University of Virginia announced he had genetically linked Jefferson and Hemings' descendants through DNA testing.
All right. Good, all right.
Thanks to gatekeepers living in...
1 year later, the Thomas Jefferson Foundation accepted the findings, and ever since, descendants of Sally Hemings have been welcome at the annual Jefferson family reunion.
Family something or what?
I know. Everyone's happy, man.
Although his children with Hemings were also his slaves, there is some indication they held more respectable positions within the household.
He wrote memos back and forth between, I think it was John Hemings, the carpenter, who made all of the famous furniture that you see up there at Monticello. And he would argue with Jefferson about the design of it and the cost.
And only people he ever freed at the age of 21 were the children of Sally Hemings.
Jefferson and Hemings' children lived apart from the rest of the slaves, and he personally taught them to read and write. The Hemings side of the family has never lost sight of the importance of a good education, even when the color of their skin made it hard to get one.
So black people in Ohio were going to college, black women were going to college before the white women in my family in Virginia. You have to ask yourself the question, oh, where did this love of education come from?
I think it's a healing story that is unlike other stories, except for it leads back to a president. Many people's families have the same story of people looking one way and feeling another, or people having multiracial relationships in their family.
The human beings are human beings. I don't care if they're presidents or what. Presidents are not perfect. They're not gods. They're just guys.